Hello to all you guys out there in YouTube land. Yes, it's me, DR, and these are my first thoughts about the New Balance Beacon version 2s. Cue intro. New Balance Beacon 2s, they've been out for about a year now. I'm so late to the party, it's not even funny how late I am to the party. But I have to say, first thoughts, because people who just watched the first 30 seconds of a video, they'll got to the intro, got to this part. First thoughts, love these shoes. So let's talk about them in a bit more detail, shall we? So they've been out for a year. Put that one down. They are a bit messy. And the dog's now starting to sniff the shoe, sniff my feet. So these are the New Balance version 2s. The version 3s have been released, but it's all been a quite sporadic release date due to the ongoing pandemic. So you can get them in the UK in certain places, but it's really confusing as to whether people are selling the version 3s, the version 1s, the version 2s. So I went with the version 2s. They're on offer, great deal at the moment. So I picked these up for an incredible steal, way lower than the retail price when they first came out. So let's talk about the shoe in more detail. So the shoe itself is a lightweight build as a daily trainer. It's a lightweight shoe. The drop from heel to forefoot is 6mm, which means it's nice and gradual. For some people, they like a higher drop. For me, I'm slowly getting into shoes, so all this stuff is double Dutch to me. But I will talk about how it felt on my first run. So I've done about 20 miles in the shoe. Actually, I've done about 19.8, but let's call it 20, shall we? For the purposes of being nice, let's call it 20. So I've done some miles in the shoe, 2 runs, and this is really my first impressions. All those provisos, these were bought with my own money. Look at my subscriber count. Ain't nobody giving me any shoes anytime soon. These were bought with my own money, and I've taken them out on a long run and a slightly quicker run just to see how they feel. So it's a synthetic upper, and the upper's really light. I found it has some wiggle room, but it's not like, for example, the Epic Reacts, where it's basically a sock upper. This is going to stay true to size. It's not going to expand or contract. So very much like a synthetic upper. The heel cut, that very much Nike feel to it. So there's a lot of structure here in comparison to other shoes. Not as much as some, but there is definitely some structure here to keep that heel nice and locked in. And actually during my runs, that's something it really did in combination with my runner's knot. So that kept my foot nice and locked in. This heel flare had no rubbing, even though there's a little bit that kind of extends in. If you guys have a look, there's a little bit that the little lip didn't have any rubbing with that on my Achilles, so that felt really, really good. The tongue is detached, so it's actually separate. So I've been running a lot in one pieces. So this tongue is separate, and there's nothing to hold the tongue, but I didn't find any slippage or movement during my runs. The tongue stayed in place for me, which was good. Going up to the upper and the forefoot, lots of room. When you actually look at it, there's a bit of creasing and bobbling. There's a whole ton of room in here. So if you've got a wider forefoot, like I do, it just sucks up your toe. It's brilliant. So I felt like my toe had room to breathe. It had room to move. It was like a wildebeest stuck in the wild. It was fantastic. Well, such a feeling. I've never had that feeling in a running shoe. You can tell I'm such a rookie to this running shoe game. So for me, that was fantastic. It was like I could move my foot around. It was awesome. Such a feeling of like it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. This is a really lightweight shoe. Even holding it in my hand, it's crazy to feel how light it is. So with that, you do give up some of the cushioning. So the foam they use, the EVA, this is their fresh foam. So if you've seen my review of the 1080s or anybody's review of the 1080s, you know that has fresh foam X. You've got to add the X to it. So fresh foam X is really soft. This is more responsive. So I've seen some people talk about running in the New Balance. Some people love it and some people find it's not soft enough. I have to admit, I loved the foam. So it was a bit of a revelation in my head in terms of running on. I've run in lots of max cushion shoes. Being a fairly heavy guy, I've always assumed that I needed max cushion shoes. So I needed enough foam here to take my weight and not make me feel like I'm pounding the ground. These were like a real great sweet spot for me. So quite responsive, quite firm. It was definitely a firmer feeling than running in, say, a 1080 or Epic React. But it felt really good. The lightweightness of the shoe, the responsiveness of the shoe, felt that I was able to move nice and quick, and it felt very natural moving in this shoe. The transition from that footfall when your foot hits the ground to moving off felt amazingly natural. I can't say enough about this shoe. It's absolutely fantastic. My early thoughts of this shoe was brilliant. There was enough in the heel, so when I was going downhill, it didn't feel like, you weren't feeling everything. These are definitely not minimalist shoes. That foam is working, it's doing something. But for me, that toe, it was an absolute revelation. I am in love with these shoes. I think they are fantastic. What I will say as a caveat to all of this is, on my first run, we really did push that distance. It was really going up there and getting some time in it. So as the late miles went on, so once I got to about mile 10, I started to feel the fatigue in the shoe. Because the shoe, if you're new to running, if you're a beginner runner, what I might say to you is this might not necessarily be the shoe for you. You might want something max cushioned. You're starting on that journey, so as a first running shoe, I wouldn't necessarily potentially recommend the Beacon 2 to someone. I would, in the New Balance range, I would still be in that 1080, I'd still be in that Epic React zone. I'd still be thinking about something with a lot more cushioning for that newer runner. But as you become more an intermediate runner, moving through to an experienced runner, whatever you define that as, I think the Beacons really shine. That's kind of my initial review at this point. So if you like this review, like, share and subscribe. Write your comments. If you run in a Beacon or you run in New Balance, tell me what you think about the brand or the shoe itself. Did you enjoy it? Did you not? If you haven't, are you thinking about going out and getting it? This is the best time to go out and get these shoes, actually. With the Beacon 3 coming out, they're going to be on offer. You're going to find them somewhere on offer where you are. So anyway, this is DR saying thank you for watching this video. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all those lovely things, and have a safe journey wherever you're heading.